I haven't gushed about Kingdom Rush Revengeance in a while. Let's change that. This is level 25, the Dragon King's Lair. So this is the last level of the Rise of the Dragon update that came out a couple of months ago at this point. But in the mod, of course, it's changed up pretty significantly. There's a couple of waves that I really want to highlight here when we get to them. But for now, I just want to talk about the tools at the player's disposal first. So, Junpei has been completely reworked, so I have a lot to showcase for him. The Wicked Sisters are pretty different as well. The Wicked Sisters is one of those towers that I have absolutely no opinion on, no matter how many times I try to form one. Talking about the vanilla Vengeance. In Revengeance, it took me a while to form an opinion on them, but now I feel pretty confident in what I have to say about them. The Melting Furnace is a little different too. I'm going to max this out because it's in this nice little central spot here that I can use to defeat all of the basic enemies that are coming out. So, I have a Mage Tower, the Wicked Sisters, even though I'm going to be dealing with, once again, some basic enemies and lots of them. When I say that I'm dealing with basic enemies, it usually comes with the implication that there's a lot of them. But the power of my reinforcements is so strong that I can actually just deal with all of them without really needing any tower support. In fact, I could probably deal with these enemies without even having a hero to support them because they just have so many demon guards, but it's kind of hard to say because the support that you get from Junpei is pretty significant. His Banner of Courage, which used to provide healing for units, now provides damage for them. So it's a red flag because red is damage, green is healing. This gives them nearly double damage. So they go from 30 to 60 to 57 to 114. So it's a pretty significant change. Now I'm going to have to move Junpei down here and put some of my reinforcements down here as well, because otherwise the Melting Furnace is going to get overrun. Now you can also see that his wave has been significantly improved as well. It's not that the enemies got weaker, it's just that some of the tools at the player's disposal are stronger. So this wave now deals a ton of damage. I'm just going to call the waves early, like I usually do, but this is by no means a speed run. Although you could modify what I do just a little bit in order to get a working speedrun strategy. But anyways, his wave has been modified to deal a lot more damage. It's physical damage, so against these recruits here, or these footmen, it's going to deal a different amount of damage. So the first thing that I need to do is rush all the way up to a tier 4 of the Wicked Sisters, because I know ahead of time that a high sorcerer is on its way. I beat this level once before, and then I played it again just to give myself a bit of a refresher of what to expect, because I want to be prepared when I talk about this. Now, I don't usually like to talk about behind the scenes with YouTube videos and stuff, but I figure it would be good to just clarify right now that I usually don't do live commentary. I usually script whatever I'm going to say, and then just do a recording of me talking, and try to splice together the audio of that with the footage that I gather. It's a lot more time consuming, which is kind of why I'm not doing it this time around. But I prefer to do it that way because having a script means that I don't have as many pauses or any of the other things that would just annoy me if I was watching a video. I wouldn't want to upload something that I myself wouldn't watch, but you know, some people don't mind it as much, and that's a nice thing. It's good to not be too picky sometimes, although I also think it's important to value your time, so it's a double-edged sword. But anyways, the reason why I am not scripting it this time around is because I feel like my raw thoughts about playing the game will actually speak a lot more volumes about just how cool this game is and all the thoughts that occur while you're playing it. But I did want to get a little bit prepared because otherwise trying to do live commentary while playing the game would just get me killed. Even now, I'm building up a bunch of gold because I'm thinking about what I want to say rather than thinking about what I'm going to do. And that's kind of like my favorite thing to see in gameplay videos is people who are prepared. I much rather watch good gameplay because the opposite of that is kind of annoying for me to see, or rather it's just like cringeworthy. It makes me wince when I see somebody that's playing not as effectively as they could be. Although I'm one to talk because, you know, there's a lot of optimization that you could do while playing a game. You can get closer and closer to perfection. I'm not a blade singer though, so perfection is not the beginning for me. In fact, I can't even get there. Anyways though, I'm gonna have to use the pot here because these Sylvan Elves are pretty troublesome. Oh my bad, they're Elite Rangers. Yeah, so the Sylvan Elf enemy has been reskinned. Also, let me switch to Poison with the Witches. It's been reskinned to be a Ranger now because that makes more sense, and it's also an excuse for them to be a little bit stronger. So now they have a poison attack that comes with their arrows, just making them a little bit more deadly. When you're dealing with enemies with magic resistance, you know, typically you want high physical damage, right? But you also have true damage thanks to the poison spell of the witches. So this tower is very efficient, at least cost and space-wise. The thing is, I feel like it caps out in its usefulness kind of early. Like, it's not going to deal any more damage than what it's dealing right now to these guys. And so it might make it feel a little bit on the weaker side. That was my opinion of it when I first used the witches in this mod. But now I've come to realize that when you're dealing with multiple resistances and you don't have as much gold, or you don't have as much strategic points to work with, or both, it's a lot more effective to just use the witches. And so I'm going to keep using them. One other thing that I'd like to highlight about this tower here is that it technically has an aimed insta-kill because you have froggification. And an aimed insta-kill is very effective, especially since tanky enemies actually matter in this mod. Before, they were just kind of nothingy. So even when you had an insta-kill on a tower or a hero, it didn't really make that big of a difference. Now though, it is a big deal. And that's good. So let's just use Soul Impact here and blow up all of these enemies. I should go over all of the differences that Junpei faces now. First of all, his passive, Last Stand, has been modified to check every 5 seconds if there are units within a small reach of him that have 3/4 of their max HP or less, so 75% or less. If that's true, then they're going to gain bonus damage for quite a long time, I believe 25 seconds. And this is going to allow them to stack up multiple times. They can gain this buff every single time it checks. So you can increasingly gain more and more damage for these units. That way they can keep getting stronger and stronger. So it benefits you to have nice tanky guys. Also, let's increase Got Milk's power so that way we can deal with these frogs. Now you can click them to death and you do get gold for it, but sometimes I'll forget. So it's just good to have that there at the ready, just in case. Let's get hot coals now. And let's start preparing for the boss. This might seem weird because it's only wave 9 out of 15, but you'll see how it works in just a little bit if you haven't played the mod already. So one thing that I have to gush about with the Carnival Dragons here is that they actually can be affected by all of the status effects you can inflict on units. This is so important because it's just so unsatisfying to see Carnival Dragons get hit by an attack that should light them on fire and then just nothing happens. Especially Barisat's hero spell, because it literally does 0 damage to them. So they just walk through all this fire and it just makes no sense. All of it is because they're supposed to be immune to slow, but in order to be immune to slow, they have to be immune to everything, which is just silly, in my opinion. Anyways though, let's deal with this wave here. So this wave is a meme. In the original Vengeance, there are 2 waves actually that are just nothing but devoted priestesses that spawn here. And so Eris and MMLH thought it would be kind of funny to just have a bunch of devoted priestesses all spawn here, but they also spawn with other enemies too, so that way their presence actually matters. So not only did they make the wave funnier, but they also managed to make it a more meaningful wave still at the same time. So just proof that your decision making can go a long way. So let's just take out the devoted priestess. I didn't get a chance to. Junpei actually has a small problem. I'm calling it a small problem because there's not really anything you can do about it necessarily. But it's just that he has so many skills that when you want him to get in melee combat with a unit, he just takes forever to do that because he's got to use all of his abilities that are all ranged attacks. So it can take forever. And that's kind of what happens here. Also, he's buffing all the bone golems now, so that's nice. So here's the reason why this isn't a speedrun, because you could definitely finish off these guys a lot more quickly if you plan ahead. But I'm gonna space out how quickly I kill them, because I wanted to spawn and prepare all these units for the boss fight here. So, bit of a hot take, but I actually like damage sponges, at least in Kingdom Rush. And lo and behold, the Dragon King has 47,250 HP on Impossible mode. Of course I'm playing on Impossible, why wouldn't I be? But yeah, he's got a ton of health, more health than any other enemy in the series. Surogaz, I believe, used to have the most HP at 21,600. I mean, she still does, because it's not like anything's changed, really. The mod isn't official, so it shouldn't really change up the hierarchy of HP for official stuff in the games. But, you know, this is still way more. Technically, though, if you wanted to look at EHP, anything with 100% resistances would surpass this, because it would be infinite HP, relatively speaking. And also anything that has great armor tends to surpass that amount too. Actually, I shouldn't say anything. I don't know the exact stats of the Dark Slayer off the top of my head, but I do know that the Blood Shell has 64,000 effective HP, and that is more than the Dragon King here. Now, because he's got so much already, I feel like it wouldn't make that big of a deal to just buff it a little bit, because if he had exactly 50,000, that would be a nice clean number, and the games probably should be balanced around you playing on Impossible mode, because why wouldn't you want to play on Impossible mode? But that's just my opinion. They probably picked a nice clean number for normal mode, so I can't fault them for that. But yeah, in my opinion, it would be nice to have a clean 50,000 for Impossible mode. So the reason why I think that damage sponges is so satisfying is because it gives you an excuse to try to be as OP as possible with the damage that you're dealing. Like, you want to get a huge amount of DPS on all of your towers, and what I'm doing here is I'm trying to stack all of these units together and then buff them with the banner, so that way we can do even more damage to the boss. This is satisfying to me. So yeah, let's move all these guys over here. There we go. Now, unfortunately, Abrasive Heat does not work on these Bone Flingers here. Even if you upgrade it, it won't do anything, so I'm not going to waste the money on it. Oh, look at this. One of these guys is escaping. So let's just drop the hero spell on him. Let's see. Is that enough? Oh, yep, it is. Okay, cool. I clicked on him, even though it doesn't actually make a difference. It's almost like a little good luck charm. So yeah, the boss spawns on wave 10, and getting up to wave 15 is kind of like an indicator that you're getting closer to him escaping. So you definitely want to deal as much damage as you possibly can. Now, actually, my placement is suboptimal here, and this is, again, due to me doing live commentary. But what I should be doing is moving these guys back here. Yeah, there we go. Now we're dealing a bunch of damage. It's okay, though, because if I do it suboptimally, it means that I'm closer to potentially losing, and therefore, there's more tension. So, booyah. I win in the end. But yeah, let's see if I can squeeze these guys up here. Good, good. That's done with. Now, the random targeting of the Bone Flingers is supposed to be offset by them having more DPS. Unfortunately, something that they tried to do with this mod didn't work out successfully. They didn't actually increase the attack speed of Bone Flingers, and so they're not as strong as they're supposed to be. So I'm playing with a much weaker version of the tower than what I'm supposed to have. Also, let's switch to magic. Magic does more damage, but it's magic damage as opposed to true damage of the poison. So your incentive to use the magic is because it's the default better option. But when an enemy has magic resistance, you have that other option to make it more useful. Unfortunately, though, the magic also has like a stun effect. So you could make the argument that it's better already if you value the stun more. So, you know, to each their own. Also, let's move these bone golems up here. I believe this is the last spot for the Dragon King, so we better make this count. So everybody now, let's attack. Yeah, this is all good. So there's plenty of other things that I wanted to say about Junpei as well, such as the fact that his range attack now is lightning, and it's chain lightning too, so he can chain to other units and do damage to them. Oh, there we go. There's the banner. Okay, so let's unload all the damage on this guy. He's getting close to dying now. He's also, besides that, just got a better version of his splash attack, which is his AoE. He's got a better hero spell because now it applies slow, so it has synergy with itself. The mausoleums, I forgot to mention that as well, but they get increased attack speed when you upgrade the bonus specters on the tower. So it just makes it a little bit more satisfying to get that upgrade when it was previously not that good. Not to mention that it's cheaper now, so it's almost like a must-have. And it's a self-synergy, right? Because if you have faster attack speed, you can build up your maximum amount of specters more quickly. So you can actually benefit from storing attacks ahead of time. So I think that's really nice. Yeah, I didn't use barracks once in this challenge here. I shouldn't really call it a challenge, but you know, it is calling all the waves early, so to some extent it's harder than it otherwise would be. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase this level here because there's so many cool things. I didn't really get to convey the emotions that I feel playing this level, but I really do think it's super cool playing it. It just reminds me of when I first played these games. I definitely burnt myself out of all of the Kingdom Rush games, and I don't really enjoy them anymore, but I still have more information to share about it. And now I don't have to feel that burnout anymore because there's new stuff in Revengeance. So I really highly recommend this. I can't imagine somebody not enjoying the mod if they liked anything about the previous Kingdom Rush games. There's very little that could be changed about this mod that I would change about it. And that's saying something because I oftentimes get lots and lots of ideas for how I would want something to be different in pretty much any video game. But that's all that I have to say about this for now, because I've got plenty of other levels to say other things that I need to showcase here, especially this very, very evil iron challenge in Gumiko Mountains. But that's for another day. So, have a good day, everybody.